Hey, what's up, everybody? Want to welcome everybody back. Our tight little niche group here is always being faithful and leaving comments, and I want to say thanks to you, like I always do, and because I always appreciate you. And to be honest with y'all, and if you're a new subscriber, if you hear from Mandela Effect stuff, that might come up every now and again. But a lot of times now, it's just going to be me ranting off at the mouth about things that I think that my community or people that find me, which is going to be very hard to do. So if you found me, you know, hang on to it because there's a good chance you'll never see me again. But I like to just jibber jabber, and with the people that are in this community, they're very friendly. Subscribers are always going to help, talk, give you input, and there's not really trolls around, and if they are, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Um, but um, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was just sitting around, and I was just thinking, and I was like, I'm making so many of these videos are that I make seem so serious a lot of times, and to be honest with you, I'm not even really like this. I mean, you see a part of me that's discussing things, and maybe I take a little too heavy on the heart sometimes when it comes to the issues or subjects that I tend to be discussing. However, this time, I want to keep it a little light. I want to try to maybe, I don't know, hopefully say something I think that's going to make me laugh, or at least make me feel good about talking about it. Um, so what I really want to talk to you about, which I'm sure you already know already because you've seen my thumbnail, but versatility. And this isn't going to be some psychoanalysis of how people think or how people act. I want to keep it a little bit more. I want to make it a little more simple than that. Um, a lot of you guys that you're my subscribers, you've seen a lot of my other videos, and recently I made a video about basically I think it was called Identity Crisis, and it's how I really don't have like a bloodline. I really don't have a culture that belongs to me. I really don't have, a group that I belong to. And that my life having been that way, I've been forced to be versatile um, in the things that, I affiliate myself with. And I was just sitting around just thinking about, movies, how I've caught so much crap from just different friends. If they were black friends, they're like, man, that movie's, those movies are crazy. They don't really watch them. It was white friends, like those music or those movies are crazy. Um, whatever kind of group of people, and you guys know that I'm not afraid to talk, and that's never changed. I've always been that way. And, hopefully, a lot of you guys may see that I kind of have a way, and you may not really be able to tell it here because it's not like you really interact with me in public, but I do have a way with people, and I think that does come from, you know, versatility. And, I think back and I just want to share with y'all a couple of things that I think people have found kind of funny about me. I had one of my subscribers say that if you saw my Pandora, you would think that multiple people listen to it because the music comes from so many different directions. And tonight I heard a song called The Humpty Dance by a group called Digital Underground. And I don't know if any of you people know it or any of you guys and gals know it, but it's a funny song from the 90s, and it's hilarious. And I used to love that song. He talks about how big his nose is in the song, and so I guess I always related to it because, I got kind of a schnoz on me. So I don't know. I thought when I haven't heard it in years, and I don't know, it was just really funny, and I don't know, it took me back to a time, I guess just in the past. And I don't know. I just wanted to share with you guys a couple of things that people thought were crazy, or strange. Um, one of my some of my favorite movies are car movies, movies that deal with cars. Um, Maximum Overdrive. I don't know if any of you guys ever heard about that. Um, a movie called The Car from 1977. It was like a B movie, and it's fantastically horrible. It's one of my favorite movies. Um, Christine, about a 1950 Plymouth Fury. Um, I've always just liked car movies, and I've always liked when these cars run people over, you know. And funny little side note is my biggest fear in the world is like hitting a pedestrian. It's always been that way with me for years. I've always been afraid of like running people over. And my favorite movies are cars that basically run people over half the time. And that brings me to another movie. It's a movie called Death Proof. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie, but it's considered his flop. And of course, it's my favorite movie of all time. You know, it has to be because everyone else hated it, so it has to be my favorite movie. But I tend to find beauty in things that people usually just don't see. And I'm like that with people. I'm like that with a whole lot of things. In one of my videos, I mentioned a musical group called the Mars Volta. And if you've never heard it, you should check it out. You're probably going to freak out a little bit and be like, what the hell is this? Well, you know, I was a musician, and it's a musician's band. And, it's pretty far out there. It's like modern classic acid rock. It's really crazy, really funky, and it's right up my alley. But I don't know. I know probably 60s and 70s R&B and B and soul music better than a lot of people do, unless you're from that era, of course. But believe me, like my white friends, my skater friends, my dirt bike friends, my rollerblade friends, they did not get it. They thought like, what the hell are you listening to? And I was like, man, what are you talking about, man? It's like, this is Al Green. I mean, fuck Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was too commercial. I was like, Al Green is the way to go. And I used to catch so much shit for it. And when I was around other groups of friends, namely like white guys, and I was hanging out with like black friends, they didn't get Pearl Jam or like old Metallica, which I think a lot of new Metallica is fucking garbage, but they're fucking 60 fucking years old. What are you gonna get? But I was just always a fan. And I don't know, like I say, I mean, I think that if you come from like a black cultured background, you end up relating to like rap music and R&B music, and you come from like a white guy's cultured back. I mean, you got country or like rock music, which I've never really listened to country music. As close to country as I'm gonna get is like Johnny Cash, and and it was because he was an asshole, and if any of you know who Johnny Cash is, you know that he was a prick, and that's right up my alley. But yeah, I've always been pretty versatile in the things that I like, to where, and all this is going to come around to a little punchline at the end, or a good point. But I've always been pretty versatile when it's come to movies, music, even people. I remember I would have parties at my place, and they would be the most backwards group of people you would ever see, because I would have like my ghetto ass friends there, I would have like skater friends there, and even if there were people that didn't get along in other places, school, or just just out in the world somewhere, they just would have never ever met each other. There were times that I would have people, I mean, we'd be sitting around smoking, and I didn't drink very much, but of course there was always booze around because everybody else did. Everybody else drank. But, smoking was my thing, and it still is. I just can't really smoke right now. But, I just have the most backwards groups of friends sitting across from each other, sitting next to each other. And, by the time it was over with, or by the time it started at least, everybody's having a good time. Nobody cares about no bullshit. And I was the common friend, I was the common denominator, in this equation of, you know, ragtag weirdos from all over the place. And, I'd have just, I would have, I had like some fighting lesbian friends, and I would have like these Hill Valley girls that spoke. I'm not gonna do it, but you know what I'm talking about. They just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and just, blonde idiots. I'm sorry, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It was the 90s, I mean, it was those kind of girls, But I would just always catch so much crap, for the different things that I liked, and I would just, I don't know. I had a thing for mixing people together. I'm mixed up, and I was always kind of a leader amongst my friends. Not that I was some fucking jerk or I thought I was a tyrant or anything, but I mean, I had a house where it was at a time in like the most detrimental years, which was like 18, 19, and 20. I lived at the house I grew up in, or the people I grew up with, and my grandmother had moved away, and it was just my granddad, and he worked. He would go to work like at 6 p.m. and come home like at 7 a.m. And those are like the worst hours to leave somebody at home that's like 18, 19 years old. And I would just have these pass out, fucked up, throwing up in my bathtub fucking parties. And it was just, I don't know. It was good in a sense that I wasn't inside of a box, and I had so many different types of people I was around. And I don't know. Like I said, I mean, when you don't have a culture you belong to, you adopt certain aspects of different cultures, and that's what ended up happening. I tried to show one of my friends one time this movie called Women in Cages. He did not like the movie. um, there's a movie called The Last Dragon that it's like a Bruce Lee movie, but it's all black people. It's the most hilarious, most beautiful, terrible movie you're ever gonna watch. And it's hilarious. I don't know if you can find it, but it's a movie called The Last Dragon. It's so funny. But at the same time, I would watch movies like, oh man, just so many off the wall aspects. Oh, I remember I got into like Faces of Death movies, when I was younger, and I don't know. I would just really watch all these crazy flicks. Movies was my thing, I mean, I love music and everything, but movies was my thing. We didn't have no internet, back then, so everything was like a VHS tape. But I remember when UFC first came out. I mean, the very first UFC 1 ever showed up. I remember I was all waiting at the video store to get that thing, and I was like, they're gonna show some. This is gonna get fucked up and bloody, and it did. It was nut shots and headbutts, and ugh, it was a bloodbath. It was right up my alley. I don't know. There's just so many friends and people that I had that were just from so many. I think that they enjoyed my company just because I was open to so many different things, and at the same time, I could offend them. I would offend them at the same time because some of the shit that I watched or listened to or I did was just. I remember I would dress kind of like a gangster, kind of, and I already had pierced my nose. I had cut my hair into a mohawk before it was fashionable in any sense. Maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, mohawks were kind of fashionable again. Um, it wasn't fashionable then, and I would wear like giant pants, and I mixed so many things together, and I know people in general don't do this. I know this because I've had over a thousand friends in some time period or another, and you know what can I say? I'm slightly neurotic. I study people and the things that they do and how they are and how they act, their mannerisms, the way their eyes blink, the way they swallow whenever the right answer isn't given. I study people, and they just weren't like me, and I don't know. I guess my whole advice to everyone is to try to be as versatile as you can. You know, I'm reminded of a song that's called Know Your Enemy. And the only way that you can have proper ammunition to go against or for any idea or ideal is to study that side too. And I do to this day. I hate Donald Trump. Well, let me do some research on him. I can't just say, I don't like him because everyone else says they don't like him, or whatever, you know. But, you have to study every side. And you'd be surprised at some of the things that you find on the other side that you may end up liking. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And you know what? I'm probably going to piss off 90% of you right here. But, I've seen this guy around. I've seen his name mentioned. His name is Milo Yiannopoulos or something like that. And that is one funny gay guy that's like in politics and talks so much shit that he just triggers every human being on earth. If any of you know who Ben Shapiro is, Ben Shapiro ain't got shit on Milo. And if you haven't seen this guy, you need to see him. This guy is so funny and so fucked up. The things that he says and believes in, crazy, crazy madness. And of course, I love it. I love it. I don't think I've ever liked a gay guy that much. I'm gonna be honest, they kind of get on my nerves. I've had a lot of gay friends. I've got like a gay like stepbrother and stuff. I don't know. That's just never. It's kind of drizzling out here. Sounds like somebody was walking around back there. Um, I've just never really liked that sort of thing, and I don't know. This guy's hilarious. So anyway, the point that I'm getting to is that try to be versatile, and in doing that, this is the big point that I'm coming to. When you are a versatile person and you learn all these different things, and maybe some of you don't care, and maybe you're never going to be this type of person. I am this kind of person. I do talk to everyone. I don't care if they're a 80-year-old right winger or if they're a 20-year-old left winger. It doesn't matter. I have something that can create a rapport and common ground with anyone in any situation. There's something that I know about that I can relate to them with in some kind of way or another. Maybe not now. Maybe I'm getting kind of old. My daughter's 20 years old, and I'm starting to feel old. Like I'm starting to feel a little bit older. Like I just can't read. I still can barely, but the younger the kids get, I feel like I'm losing touch, and it's just because I don't give a shit about the dumb shit they're listening to, watching, or care about. But anyway, that's what versatility leads to, is being able to build rapport with people, a rapport with people that you never thought you would. You know, um, you know. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. I think that's all I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna cut another little video to go with this, and the next one's gonna be kind of lighthearted too. But anyway, that's it. I'm gonna get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, if you're new to this channel, you can stick around if you want. I don't need you to subscribe. I don't need you to like it. You can comment, talk a lot of shit, tell me that movie or that song sucks. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you to fuck off. So, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get out of here. Stay strong, guys. Talk to you soon.